Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the TradeStation Masterclass. You're still hearing my order filled confirmations in the background. That was a strategy trading example we were doing on the prior class. So I'll turn that off in a little moment because otherwise it'll just drive us crazy. Today's topic is fundamental data and company research. So we're going to take a look at some of the utilities in TradeStation that provide you fundamental data and also how you can access other company research from within the TradeStation platform. The whole idea is for you not to have to leave your trading platform to get additional data. You can get everything from within the TradeStation desktop. So before we get to how to access fundamental data on company research, let's go through some of the disclosures. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Also, that active trading is not suitable for everyone. It has risks and there are products that are riskier than others. You need to be aware of that. And also that past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. You do have a link right there at the bottom of that PowerPoint slide. It is www.tradestation.com/important dash information in case you want to read a little bit more about the risks of trading. All right. Thank you guys for being here. If this is the first time you're joining me, my name is Jesus Nava, Director of Client Training and Education here at TradeStation Securities, and it's always a pleasure to be doing these classes. I would like to sort of survey the crowd here. Um, if you were here on our prior class, we know what Jim's opinion is about fundamental data. So yeah, there are some people that do not want to even look at fundamental data because they say it's already factored into the price of the stock. It's already, information that's outdated. Whatever the reasons are for not believing in fundamental data, there are some people that don't want to see it. But there are some others that do rely on fundamental data to get and there we go, to get an understanding on where the stock stands, what the financial stability of the stock is, and if it's worth, trading going forward, especially if you're trading this on long term. So what do you guys think? Does anybody here trade or at least look at, let's not say trades based on fundamental data, because I'm a believer that you need to, juggle different technical, technical studies and fundamental data and base your trading decisions on different things. So let's not say that you're trading based off fundamental data, but you still like to look at the fundamental values of stocks. Who here does look at fundamental data, at least just to have information from companies, and who doesn't at all? So either a yes or a no would be sufficient right here in the chat. Let's share what you think about fundamental data or any other company research. So Carl says yes, Peter says yes, Prasad says yes. Thank you guys for sharing your opinion. It's great to see that, yeah, fundamental bit is being used. So I'm going to show you, I trade stocks and options based on fundamental and technical analysis. Good. So yes, let's take a look at some of the studies that do provide you fundamental data and how you can access the fundamental data for your own analysis and your use. It's interesting that, the database that TradeStation has on fundamental data comes from Reuters. Back in the days, we used to have over 400 data or fundamental data items that you could access on a database, not only current, fundamental data, but also historical fundamental data. So if you wanted to see a historical earnings per share chart, you could and see how earnings has either improved or how has it not, how's decremented. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those analysis techniques. I'm going to switch over to my TradeStation platform. And first of all, let's go ahead and close this workspace. That's it. That's a good point, Jim. So sometimes you have two assets have the same probabilities, and the tiebreaker would be fundamental data. Which one looks best, right? So you do use fundamental data. You lied to me earlier. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know that sometimes, yeah, it's not, the go-to type of analysis that a lot of people do. So let's go ahead and cancel this order, close the position. Okay, so we're back on our original position when we first started. I'm going to go here to apps, go to chart analysis, and I'm going to turn this into a daily chart. So a daily chart of Apple. Apple is a great example. It's a stock that releases earnings every quarter. So let's go ahead and see if we have a historical measure of earnings for Apple. I'm going to go here to studies and add a study. We don't have, individual studies for each one of the fundamental data pieces that are part of the network, but I'm going to show you how you can switch it around and see other type of fundamental data. If you go here to the list of studies, we have a few that start with the word fundamentals. We have fundamental custom, fundamental TTM, fundamental TTM ACC, and fundamental TTM MOM, which I think it's momentum. ACC, I think it's accumulation. TTM, I think it's 12 trailing months. Fundamental custom is just there for you to supply what is the fundamental data that you want to see. But I'm gonna go here to different type of analysis technique, which is a show me, because here we also have some fundamental data show me's that we can use. Here we have EPS postings. In fact, I found a study that you can also bring in from the trading app store. It's called earnings and dividends postings, which combines not only earnings but also dividends. Interesting tool, although you don't have access to the code, so a little bit restrictive when it comes to what you want to see. But EPS postings, even though it just says EPS, is a type of tool that also allows you to switch the type of data that you're looking at. Let's take a look at earnings first and see what it looks like. I'm going to click OK and OK here. Did I select? I probably selected fundamental custom, and that's why it's coming down here. All right. So fundamental custom, as we see it there, let me just see what the value is. Okay. So you can see that the two studies that I added to my chart were EPS postings, and I can see where those earnings were posted. But this other fundamental custom, we'll leave it there at the bottom of the chart because it'll come in handy. Notice that the fundamental plot or the fundamental data plot on a separate subgraph, like we have it here at the bottom of the screen, it's not, the best use of our space, because we know that once fundamental data values are released, they pretty much stay the same for a period of time. In this case, it can be a quarter, so you can see why we see a flat line, because the value doesn't change. This fundamental data piece, which is not really sure what it is, we'll figure out what it is in a moment. It's 2.10. We can see that earnings right here on the top. We know that it's earnings because we selected earnings postings. So everything you see here will be earnings. The color and the style of the font is controlled by the study itself. I know that a long time ago it didn't, so you had to go into the text settings or the default settings to change this. But now if I go to studies and I edit studies, I can double click on earnings per share. And here I have a few inputs. I'm sorry about the size on this screen, but below 0 color, it's going to be red. Above 0 color, it's going to be orange. Number decimals to show 2. Text label font size. Notice that it's 8. I'm going to make this a 14. I click OK and close. So now that number is bigger, and we can see it very clear on the screen. We can see that on this date, January 28th, Apple had earnings of $2.11. The prior quarter, which were released on October 29th, we had earnings, or Apple had earnings of $1.25. And you can see the history of earnings going back in history. In fact, if I go back here, let's go 30 years of data and let's turn this into a weekly chart. Uh-oh, there we go. Now I see a lot of postings because, I mean, we reduced the time frame, but we can go back in history. You know, when Apple was 50 cents, you know, back in the year 1992, you can see how Apple was 50 cents, 49 cents per share. Earnings were released, you know, a penny here, a penny here. Sometimes earnings were negative. Right here, we have a negative one. So anytime that you have earnings that are negative, you see the plot change to red and the number is inside parentheses. But this is 30 years of historical data on Apple. No earnings, 0, 0. Let me see, when was the first time that we get some significant? Well, it's gradually increasing as we go up, because right here, let's say back in the year 2009, this data, of course, is back adjusted. You know, I think Apple did go through a split, and that's why the prices here are so low. So maybe also take that into account when you look at historical data. But more recently, you can see where the postings have been, okay? Okay, yes, Jim, thank you for that. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at how we modify that and how do we know which piece of data is being reflected down here. If I go into the settings of my study again, I'm gonna go here, right click on the little dot, edit EPS postings. You can see that there's always going to be a code. In this case, it's called the EPS field. And inside quotations, you have an acronym or a code. In this case, is SBBF. SBBF is the code that you would have to enter in this inputs field in order to get earnings. That's what the code represents, earnings in the database. So whatever piece of data that you want to get from the fundamental data database, you just have to provide the code. The code that is being used right here at the bottom with fundamental custom is SDBF. So I'm sure it's very close to earnings. There's only one letter that changes. Maybe the one that we see right here at the bottom is a different calculation, maybe is adjusted by something. So we're going to take a look at where is it that you can find the codes and what they mean. So I'm going to go here to, from this dialog. I'm not sure if I click on help, it won't take me. If I go to help from this dialog, it'll just take me to this customized study inputs. But it's a quick way for me to get access to the help. And over here on the top right, I'm going just to type in the word fundamental. We have the top topic about fundamental data in TradeStation, fundamental to average fundamental. All right, and here we have the fundamental data, snapshot fields, fundamental data income statement, fundamental data shareholder equity. Then we have fundamental data cash flow and statement fields. And we have the fundamental data balance sheets and assets and liabilities. So to a certain extent, you do have to know in which category the fundamental data piece that you want is in. You know, for example, earnings per share, where would you guys think it would be? Maybe in yes, dividends are available. We just have to find where it is. In what category would you guys think that earnings and dividends would be here? It's income, cash flow, balance sheet. If you're not sure, it doesn't really matter because you can check them all, you know? Let me go here to this top one, which is called snapshot fields. And I believe snapshot fields will give you, I think it'll give you the most popular ones. Let's go. Let me go snapshot fields. And here we go. It gives you a table with the code and what it represents. So rather than having to scroll up and down on this list that is sorted by the description, I can scroll here and find, I saw dividends right here, dividends, and I saw earnings. But in the earnings category, but this is not earnings per share. This is different. Let's go, here's earnings per share, EPS. You see? EPS, but these are acronyms that we're not using. So this is a different kind of earnings. You can see how, not sure what type of calculation this is, but we have the EPS growth rate for the last 5 years. We have EPS basic. I'm not sure what EXCL exclude extra. Maybe that's what it means. I'm not really sure. I'm not an expert on fundamental data, but I want to find the one that is being used. And if I scroll down, what I do sometimes is I do Control F on this document, and it helps me find what I'm looking for. I'm going to do SBBF. Is that the one? It says no matches found. Is that the one that is being used right here? SBBF. So it's not on this snapshot page. So maybe that's what the problem is. That's why we couldn't find it. So if we look right here at the top, we have a section that says other fundamental data. So I'm going to come over here to balance sheet assets and liabilities. Maybe this. No, it doesn't seem like balance liabilities is going to tell it to me. I'm going to go here to cash flow. Let's go to income. And again, I can do Control F to find SBBF. Try that again. SBBF. There's nothing there. Let's see, shareholder equity. No matches found. That's going to be a problem, right? Oh, there we go. It did find it. I wasn't seeing, no results found, as I thought it didn't find it. But notice how it's highlighted down here. So SBBF stands for basic EPS excluding extraordinary items. So that's what the EXCL stands for, and the extra stands for as well. So this spells it out completely, excluding extraordinary items. What is SDBF? SDBF. Here it is. It's diluted EPS excluding extraordinary items. Now the question here is which one to use. That's the tricky part, because I wouldn't know. Do we want to use the diluted? Do we want to use the other one? I suppose, the other one is the one that is created as a separate study. So I would think that that's the one that you would want to look at. But the fundamental custom uses diluted. So I'm not sure which one is the one that it's you would want to look at. You can see how the difference, if you look at the chart, is minimal. You can see that earnings per share on the show me is $2.11 and $2.10 right here at the bottom. So Jim says that I think we use SBBF as the show me right here at the top, although this other fundamental custom study uses SDBF. So just be aware of the different calculation, and when in doubt, these are fundamental data quotes that are available to everyone. When in doubt, just look them up online, see what the differences are. That's what I would do if you're concerned about if you're using the right one or not. Okay. All right. Jim is also sharing a lot of content that our friend David Russell has shared with us. He's a fan of fundamental data. He uses it a lot in his market commentary sessions, and he even creates custom studies around fundamental data. So thank you for sharing that, Jim. Anybody that's interested in advancing their study of fundamental data inside of TradeStation, I think those classes are going to be very valuable when it comes to modifying and managing the data. Because as you can see, it's a little bit clunky the way that we access the data. We only have a few studies related to fundamental data. They reference a certain code, and then you have to go in there and find the code that supplies you the data you're looking for. In Radar Screen, we have several studies that provide you this in a table format. So let me go here to Radar Screen. There we go, Radar Screen. Let me resize this and show you a couple things that you can do. I'm going to add a symbol list. I'm going to do the NASDAQ 100. Okay, I'm going to make the symbols all daily. And I'm going to remove the label and the top index, just leave the 100 symbols. Right here in the studies dropdown, there is a section that says add study group. We have some groups that are fundamental oriented. So add study group, and those are dividends, EPS and PE, expanded, financial strength, financial, insider trading. All those will give you fundamental data. Let's start from the very top. Let's go here to dividends. Click OK. It's telling you that this will override your existing study columns layout. That's fine. I say yes. Now that's spaced everything out. So there is kind of an issue. Not sure if this happens to you, but it just resized every single column that I had in my Radar Screen in the weirdest possible way. But I can resize them one by one and take a look at this column that has multiple sub columns. So this is all dividends. It groups those studies in a very easy and digestible formats. Here you have the most recent quarter dividend, the yield, the growth for the past 5 years. It tells you the next quarter declare, next quarter X, next quarter pay. And for the payout ratios, you also have some columns here. So take a look at the ones that are already grouped for you, because I think this will save you a lot of aggravation when it comes to finding the fundamental data pieces you want, because we may have some groups providing you the data that you want. All right. That's dividends. So let's go here to studies, add study group, EPS and PE. Okay, notice that I have the EPS for the most recent quarter. Oh, take a look at what we have for Apple here, $2.10. So this indicator is not using SBBF as the code, is using SDBF, which is a diluted earnings. Interesting. This is for the fiscal year growth for the past 3 years, for the past 5 years, or for the past 10 years. That's interesting to see. Then you have price earnings and all that information right here organized in columns. So take a look at that when you get a chance. Studies, add study group. We can go to expanded. This tells you the description. It tells you the sector that the stock is in. I think David Russell is the one that uses this a lot. He uses a study where it tells him, okay, what sector is the company in? That way you can group them either by technology, by services, by healthcare. It also tells you the industry that they're in. And what else? Over here towards the right, we have some information on market cap. Studies, add study group, financial strength. We have financial strength current, most recent quarter, fiscal year. Now this one right here, I'm not sure how it's calculated. So financial strength compared to what? So I would have to look at the description of that study to find out what is it trying to tell you. This is manage efficient TTM. Also, not really familiar with this, but it's interesting that we have it there. I'm sure these studies that you find here are available in the help files, so you can look up, a description for them. And the last one, we have two more: financials. That's the one that has the balance sheet, the cash flow, and the income statement. And insider trading also does not have any information. You're going to find that some data fields that TradeStation used to provide are not there anymore. For example, this study group called insider trading doesn't give you any data. Notice how the only columns that I see are symbol, interval, last, net change, and net percent change. I see nothing about insider trading. In fact, it generates an events log. It says interest, ownership removed. Why? Because we don't have the data anymore. And insider trading was removed as well. Remember that even though the data is available on the TradeStation data network, it is provided by Reuters. So if Reuters does not support any particular data element anymore, then we won't have it. We just haven't, to a certain extent, caught up to everything that Reuters is doing. So we haven't removed a lot of the studies that don't work anymore. So if you find something that generates the events log, just read out the message, because if something was removed, it's probably because we don't offer the data anymore. And this is true for other for other fundamental data pieces. Like there's one that is called optionable. You find all the stocks that have options in them, but that's a different story. That's used in Scanner. All right. That is my piece on fundamental data. Oh, one more thing, because we do have a little window that pretty much wraps all the fundamental data in an easy and more graphical way to digest the information. Next earnings date, by the way, Murray, since you're asking, that's a study that's part of the TradeStation platform. I think we discussed that John Brook and his team did a lot of work on that study, and now it's available on the TradeStation platform. So you should be able to have a list of symbols in radar screen. Let's go ahead and add the Dow Jones Industrial and go here to the plus. And I believe it's built into the TradeStation platform. So I'm going to go here to next. No, it's not built into the TradeStation platform. It's available on the trading app store. So it's not available on the desktop. It's not built in. But if you go to the trading app store, you can look for next earnings date and add it. That way, this particular study was fixed. So it does give you information on when the next earnings date is, if it's been confirmed, and how many days until we get those earnings released. Okay? It should be there. Let's take a look at it together. Let me go here to a browser. Let me go to TradeStation, learn, and I'm going to go to Trading App Store. This goes out to Trading Technologies. And right here, I'm just going to search for next earnings. Search. And here it is, next earnings date studies. So you can just install it from here and you'll have it as the list of studies on your TradeStation platform. All right, so one window that I wanted to show you, if you go to apps, you have one application called Research. Research is an application built into the desktop that does group and organize fundamental data on a nice view. So if you don't want to go and fish for specific studies to provide you the data you're looking for, you can always come to Research, and this gives you some sort of a prompt letting you know that that TradeStation doesn't own this data, and it's provided by an independent, unaffiliated company, and TradeStation doesn't guarantee, and there's sometimes, the data here, we're just passing it on to you guys, okay? I'm gonna click OK. And it says no data found for $indx.x, which is okay. I'm just going to type in a symbol here, AAPL, and hit enter. This application that you see here is a browser window. So it uses the technology of a browser window. So you pull up the research, and what you're looking at here, it's like a website that is embedded in this application. So some of the controls that you find in a website you can use here. For example, I know that if I do Control plus, it increases the size of the view. So Control plus and Control minus allow you to increase the size of this. This is fundamental data on Apple. And if you look over here at the very top, we have different tabs. We have the highlights, we have the profile for Apple. You can see the officers, you can see which sector, the industry that Apple is in, you know, what the latest fiscal year date is, how many employees it has, the address, and so forth. And you can find this information for every company that you load up, or every company that at least has fundamental data. And you have a little description here on Apple as well. You can go to valuation. Again, you can increase the font size like that. Profitability. That's where we find the earnings per share. See that this is the earnings per share, including extraordinary items. This is $2.10. You have the capitalization. Notice how, you know, insider trades, notice how it's all zero. So that's data that is not provided by our data provider anymore, which is Reuters. So we have zeros. It doesn't mean that it's broken, or it just means that we don't have that data anymore. We have the quarterly results for Apple, the financial strength of Apple, and the industry comparisons, which I find very interesting. So you see the valuation of Apple in millions, and how it compares to the industry and the S&P 500. So year-to-date percent change, you can see the percent changes of the industry and the S&P 500, and do some very interesting comparisons in here if you're looking at a sector in relationship to its industry. So that's a very good window to look at. And next, I'm going to show you how to link this to a third party. Because a lot of times I know that you guys are fans of your own websites. So I'm going to ask you to share with me any new and upcoming websites that are providing very cool financial information. One thing that I need from that website though is for it to have symbol specific web pages, meaning that if you go to Apple, you get a full web page related to Apple, charting and news and hot topics and anything that's happening to Apple. What websites do you suggest we use here? I think we've used, you know, in the past, we've used CNN Money, we've used FinViz. What websites are you guys using in addition to, you know, your trading platform to look for financial information, to look for news, to look for, you know, valuation, whatever is it that you're looking for? What websites are popular out there? So I have some suggestions here. I have IBD, Yahoo Finance, FinViz. Okay, great. Those are great suggestions. In fact, Yahoo Finance, by the way, is the one that TradeStation selects as the third party to link right here on TradeStation. When you have this research window up, you can go to the data little button up here and get additional data elements to click on. For example, if I want to take a look at the competitors for Apple, it's number 6 here on the list. If I click on competitors, notice what's going to happen. It takes me to Yahoo Finance. And you're going to see that all the items or all the data elements that are part of this dropdown are going to take you to Yahoo Finance. So if I want to see the page here, I can see the key executives. I can see how much money they're making. That is sickening. That's right here in this place. And it gives you a description of Apple, corporate governance. Doesn't give me the competitors though, Apple. So it sends me to the profile. All right. Okay, so what I need, if I wanted to create my own link though, so as I said before, anything you find here in data, I think is going to link to Yahoo Finance. So if I want to go to a balance sheet, so notice that it's still Yahoo Finance. I can scroll down and I can look at the financials for Apple. Okay, we're going to create our own links. So we are going to, let's do a few, if we have time, we'll do a few and see if it works for us. The first thing we need is to pull up a URL. So I'm going to use the TradeStation browser window, which was recently, updated. If you go to apps, you have a browser window as part of the TradeStation platform. I'm going to put it here on the right-hand side of TradeStation. And you have a URL right here on the top. So it works really nice for you to pull up any website that you want. So I'm going to let's do IBD for a moment. Is IBD's website just IBD.com? No, it's not. I don't think this is it, right? So let's use another example. Let's use investors.com. Thank you for that. Investors.com. I knew it was an IBD. So investors.com. Notice that this is a browser window, just like you would pull up Google. I think the underlying technology of this browser is Internet Explorer, which is, I know a lot of people are not fans of Internet Explorer, but the nice thing is that you can open up these browsers and be part of the TradeStation desktop. So you don't have to leave your platform ever. You can just pull up a website inside of your desktop. So what I need, let me see if this provides that to me, is a URL that I can get a specific link to. So let me go here and see if I can get that from this list. Not sure that IBD can give that to me, but I'll try. Let's see. I'm going to do search companies, keywords, and products. I'm going to do AAPL for Apple. So this is, all right, this is loading. So Rich says researchinvestors.com. All right, this is not loading right here. Not sure why. Oh, it was loading. Okay, so let me do, okay, there we go. So this is IBD research. So we have the page for Apple. And what I'm looking for is for the URL. And when I say URL, I mean the actual address that you find right here on the very top. I'm looking for the URL. This is going to be a little bit, this is going to be different because here it tells you more information on the stock than what I was anticipating. So here you see the exchange. It gives you the description of the company that actually says Apple spelled out. Then you see INC for incorporated. And then is when it tells you the ticker symbol, which is AAPL. So in this particular example, I am unable to use it as part of the technology in TradeStation. And I'm going to show you why in a different example. I don't think it's going to work if I choose. I can always try it, but what's throwing me off is all this additional information that I'm not going to be able to control. I can control this symbol right here, this part. Maybe if I plug in whatever TradeStation needs to switch the symbol, maybe these other pieces will update accordingly, maybe. So let's go ahead and do the process here. What I need to do is I need to copy this URL. So I'm going to do Control first of all, I need to highlight the whole URL. And I'm going to do Control C to copy it. And then I'm going to open up a notepad. Notepad is what we use to create our own personal links. All right, I'm going to paste the URL right here. Okay, that's my URL. This is the information that I think is going to be difficult to change. And for anybody that's trying to find step-by-step instructions, go to help and the TradeStation help. And I want you guys to search for IRL. IRL is an internet research link. Here it is. I'm going to click on it. And this gives you to save a file, enter a file name. Oh, this is not using creating it. Okay, we have to go to the topic that says creating a smart link. There we go. Here's where it tells you what to do. So we need to navigate to a web page you want to use as the research link. We did that already by going to investors.com. Make sure that the URL address contains a symbol. It does. If the symbol is not part of the URL, you will be unable to create a research link to that web page. Well, we know that the symbol is part of the URL. The problem is that we have more information for the symbol. We have the exchange, we have the description of the company, which is not needed. But I'm going to see if it works. And if it doesn't, we'll just use another one. In the browser window, highlight the URL address and the address box. We did that. Click copy. We did that. Open a text editor, Notepad or WordPad. We did that. And in your editor, paste the shortcut. We did that. So this is the next step, which is step number 6. 2 special placeholders are available to allow the selected symbol information to be passed to the link. Symbol character to replace the first letter of the symbol, or symbol name to replace the full symbol name. You must type symbol character or symbol name in lowercase. For example, change, and here is using Yahoo. Notice that it's using IBM. And what it does, it replaces IBM with the symbol name. And it also replaces the I here with the symbol characters if you have to change it. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to go here to the notepad. And right here where it says Apple, I'm just going to add a square bracket and I'm going to do symbol name and close the square bracket. So that's exactly what it says here to do. Symbol name, all in lowercase. And I'm going to take that and save it. Documents, TradeStation 10, Internet folder. Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to go to my documents. And in my documents, I'm going to go to TradeStation. TradeStation 10. In TradeStation 10, I do not have an internet folder, which is tricky because the instructions say that I need to find, where does it say that? I need to find the internet folder. What it does have, though, it's a folder for Cal, which is not what I want. All right, so I need to find where this is. Internet research links. We've done this before. So trade list, workspaces, it's not going to be here. Not going to be here. So custom symbol lists, data, not in data. Easy language, exports, reports, restore, scans, sessions, not here. So I'm going to go back to documents. Go to, I do open up TradeStation 10. Where is that link? Because I may have to provide it to you over here. Do you guys remember? I know that some of you were in my class last time. I want to make sure that I have the right, I think it is in my documents, but I do have to go to a hidden folder. So before I go in here, I want to make sure that I have the right viewing capabilities. So I'm going to come over here and do something before I do anything. So I'm going to go to, I'm going to bring this so you can see exactly what I'm doing. This is just Windows Explorer. And I'm going to go to the, on the View tab, you have something called Hidden Item that I have checked. So this is View Hidden Items. I have it checked, so it should show anything that is hidden. So let me go back here to, I'm going to go to my C drive. I'm going to go to, you see, when you go to the C drive, you have some folders that have a lighter color yellow. Those are the ones that are hidden from view. If I go over here to view and I uncheck hidden items, you can see that it gives me a simplified view because it hides anything that is supposed to be hidden. I want those to be visible because I want to be able to go here to users. I think I remember where to go. Users, I'm going to open up my folder. I'm going to go here to app data. Go to local. From local, I'm going to go here to TradeStation Technologies, TradeStation 10, and is it internet? Wow, that is a long path, but it's, for a moment, you know, I kind of just went in my memory and I just found it. Some things are logged in your memory and you don't really remember until you're actually doing something. And I think this is the path. You have to go into the C drive, the users, find the user that corresponds to the computer you're using. My user is called JNava on this computer. Go to app data, which is a hidden folder. That's why we needed to check this. And then go into local TradeStation Technologies, TradeStation 10 and enter. Let me copy all this. I'm going to paste it right here into the chat. Next time we do this, if this doesn't work, it'll be much easier to find this, okay? And just remember that if you're using that path, you have to change your username. Mine is JNava. You just have to use the one that applies to the computer you're using. So here's where I find all the IRL extension files. A file that has an extension of IRL is called an Internet Research Link. So what I do is I go back in here after replace the symbol name with this cookie placement, square brackets, symbol name, all in lowercase. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to look for that directory. So I'm going to go to the, where we find this, I'm going to go to the C drive. I'm going to go to Users, my username, app data, which is the hidden folder, local, then TradeStation Technologies, TradeStation 10.0, internet. I'm going to call this IBD research. And instead of saving as a text document, I'm going to say all files, because when I switch it to all files, that's when I see all the internet research links that I was seeing before. And I do have to do one more thing. I have to add that same extension right here after the name of the file. Otherwise, TradeStation is not going to be able to recognize it. So IBD research, that's just a name, custom name that I provided. It doesn't have to match anything. And then .irl, which is the actual extension that it needs. I'm going to save it, and that's it. When I go to this research window, notice that I don't go to the browser. I go to this research window. I go to data. These are all the ones that are linked to Yahoo Finance, but I can click on more research right here at the bottom. And in the list, notice what I see. I see IBD research. This is the one that I just created. I saved it to the directory that this little dialog is reading from. Let's see if this works. I'm going to do IBD research and I'm going to apply it. So this should load again. Well, actually, this is Apple already. So let's go here to a different symbol. Let's go, first of all, let's go ahead and reload the page. I like to reload just to make sure that everything is working. I'm going to go back to research. I'm going to change the symbol to something different. Let's go here to Microsoft. Okay, and then I'm going to go to data. When you select something from more research, that's going to go to the very top of the list here just for convenience. So I can click on the IBD research right here at the top. Sometimes things take a little bit long to load. This doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Let me do that one more time. Data, IBD research. No, it may just be broken. Let me do another one. Let me just do, I'm going to do FinViz. Let's do finviz.com. Okay, so this is financial data as well. I'm going to search for the company ticker. I'm going to do Apple again just to stay consistent. But take a look at the URL up here. You guys see that it's a little bit cleaner. It doesn't have the additional name of the corporation. It doesn't have the exchange. It just says at the very end, Apple. So I can technically, if you want to test this, I can technically take that URL, change the symbol to MSFT, hit enter, and you're on the same page, but now for Microsoft. You see how that happened very nicely? Because the URL contains that information. Okay, so let's go back. This is my URL. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back to my notepad and I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to change AAPL to symbol name. That's all I need. File, save as. I'm going to save it in the same directory. I'm going to save this as FinViz. That's it. I'm going to save it as FinViz. I'll save it as all files. And I'm going to add the extension at the very end, .irl. I save it. And now I have another one in there. So let's see if it works. Let me go to data. Oh, by the way, it finally loaded. You see, I was waiting for the Investors Business Daily. It loaded in the screen. Let me go here to data and go to balance sheet. Balance sheet should go to Yahoo Finance. I go to data and I go to IBD research. It just takes a while, but here's Microsoft. So even though the URL, even though the URL had that additional information like the name of the corporation and NASDAQ, still worked. Very nice, very nice. Let me pull up something else. Let me go here to radar screen, because for some time the linking was broken, and I just want to see if it's still broken. So I'm going to add a list of symbols here. All right, and I'm going to link the two together. So if I want to see investors or IBD's research for Johnson & Johnson, let's see, I'm going to click on J&J. It just goes to Johnson & Johnson here. But I can go to data and go to IBD research. So it goes back to the original, research window. But by clicking again on IBD research, notice that I'm looking at Johnson & Johnson. So the link that we added to the TradeStation platform works for any symbol that's already loaded on the window, and it just loads that page for you. If I go to data and I go to more research, I have the second one that I created, which was FinViz. I click it and I apply. And now I have FinViz loaded right here in the research window for Johnson & Johnson. So even though I saved the URL using Apple, since the window is already loaded in Johnson & Johnson, when I go to FinViz, it loads Johnson & Johnson for me. Linking again is going to go back to the original, research look. But it's okay. We can always, once we load, Goldman Sachs, we can go to data, go to FinViz, and it just loads Goldman Sachs right here on FinViz. Let me see if, because that's on charting. Let me go here to, that's on radar screen. Let me go to a chart now and see if the same applies. So this is Goldman Sachs. If I change the symbol to Apple, it goes back to the original research window. For a long time, what I'm expecting this to do is for you to click on a symbol and have it refresh the same page you're looking at, but on the symbol that you clicked on. So use the same linking functionality in TradeStation, but that part is broken. It's not fully broken because it's just taking you back to the original view of research. And then you just have to go up here to data and go and click on your link, and it loads it for you right in here. All right. Excellent. I'm glad you like it, Jim. I like that feature, that functionality too. And I wish, TradeStation would continue to enhance it. In fact, if you guys think of anything that could make this better, feel free to submit the feedback. Remember that you have an apps right here called feedback, and these messages go directly to product owners, and they are the ones who prioritize everything that's going to be implemented on the software. Okay. All right, that's the end of our class. I want to say thank you guys for joining me today. In fact, this is the final class of this week, so thank you for supporting the TradeStation Masterclass. We have the scheduled ready for next week, and it will be sent out. In fact, I have that schedule already ready. So what I'll do is I'll just post it this afternoon so you get an idea of the topics that are going to be discussed next week, okay? And that way we can prepare accordingly. But I just have to say thank you for your time. Hope that everyone has a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see everyone back here on Monday for another masterclass session. Goodbye, everyone. Great seeing you.